Bastards! Today I want to talk about caches. What is a cache? Well, a cache is a drop of supplies that you hide or leave on the route where your bug out location is. Like when you're on a bug out and your gear gets stolen, your food runs out, your gasoline runs out, or anything else you might need on the way that you probably there is a high chance of losing. You can put some points on your bug out route to plant some caches in. A cache, what should a cache exist out of? Well, depends on your bug out plan. So it could very well be very different from person to person. Some people will like to put more food on the way so they don't have to carry it all, or in case they lose their bug out vehicle or their bug out bag, or they cannot buy food on the way to their bug out location. So, what else? Reserve clothing, some extra gear like a multi tool, something simple tools actually. A case is something very small because you probably have to hide it. Perhaps another thing you can put in your case is some money, something valuable like a little piece of gold, uh, or a shamak, some plastic bags so you can carry it all within without it noticing. Some energy bars, perhaps, um, something sleeping bag. So, you know, like a minuscule bug out bag to help you get to your further destination. Very handy when your bug out location is very far away. So, caches. The first thing about caches is where to hide them. Well, I would say on places that you can easily identify. What do I mean by that? Imagine you're riding through your to your bug out location, but perhaps by a storm a building is damaged, some trees have fallen down, so you have no points of reference to know where your bug out is. So that's very difficult when you have buried in the ground. So always keep it at some landmarks that you can recognize, and even when there are bad things happening like storms, floods, or such, but it also has to be far away from the route that other people might take. Like, don't bury it just next to the road because some people will stumble about it by accident, or they have might seen you burying it. So that could be a potential problem uh, by doing it to a highly populated road. So just I would say 100 meters from the roads. That's usually where people don't go that far off the known road. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, if you're gonna bury it, because like you can hide it in tree stumps, into abandoned buildings, but that's just things that people are drawn to. Like, do it on a natural point, near a rock, or near a tree that will not be used for um, chopping wood for firewood. So also very important to keep in mind, and be and make it easily accessible to you, because you can, to be sure, bury it like 6 feet into the ground, but that's very deep because you don't know what tools you're gonna have. You can perhaps bring your bug out bag or something, a trench tool with you, something small that you can just fold it, but even this you might get robbed of loose. So I would advise bury it under the ground, but after burying you have to camouflage it, like cut a mark of grass off the ground, then bury it, throw the sand away so people don't see there is recently been something dug up or uh, made a pit. So when you have excess ground, just pour it all around in a way that it's not noticeable for somebody who might pass an hour later. And when you have buried it, bury it like in reach where you can dig it with your hands if you're that desperate. And also, when you're on a move and there is danger in the area, like criminal elements, it's not handy to keep to dig for half an hour while the bad guys are waiting on the side till you done the work for them. So you got to be quick, and efficient in burying and digging it up. So now the actual caches. Which container would one use? Well, that's up to what you have actually. You can buy special containers that might last longer, but in the end, uh, who knows when you're gonna need it? So it must be something that will not degrade quickly, rust, or easily be broken by cold by the temperature differences like cold and heat. So that's something else you have to watch out for. Something that will not break when that gets soaked by moist. So in my opinions, these are the best ways to store to have a cage. We go from small to big. So what is one of the smallest cases you can use? Just a glass jar, like one of those that you can close off. That will make it airtight. It will not maybe much, but you can put something small in it, like energy bars, caffeine pills, a multi-tool, perhaps proper shemak in it, some money, perhaps a piece of gold. But it will not be much, but everything is better than nothing. And this will not be easily found, so you can dig a small hole for it, or put it in a place that not many people will look for. So a small jar that you can close off. Be aware if you have glass jars, don't use the lids that are made of metal because those will definitely rust. Um, so that's a bad thing. Another thing is when you put it in the glass jar, you can just to be sure put some plastic bags around it, seal it off with like those vacuums bags, seal all the air out of it, and by the time the plastic will be degraded, then it will take a long time before the rubber of the jar will be degraded as well. So put it in a vacuum bag just to make it last longer. Next, just a simple ammo cage. These are made to last a long time to store ammunition, but it's also handy to keep your bag out, uh, your cage in it. You can see I put all kind of things in it, uh, emergency rations, some bandages, Israeli bandages, shamak, matches, some of my personal information, just in case I need to retrieve my documents that I lost or something, or had forgotten on the way during the bug out. Some water. Water I wouldn't not put in this. I would put like here, you will not see it. Just a live straw filter and some purification tablets. Because if you put water in this, it might break, start to leak, and it will soil everything from the inside and it will start to mold. So put everything in you need, but no water. You can put two layers of vacuum bags in this. You can vacuum bag like I did for the most for the metal parts and the most pronoun things that are uh, can break when they get wet. I put them in a vacuum bag inside of the ammo cage. You can close it off, and you can seal the ammo cage in vacuum bag as well, just to make sure and make it very long lasting. The metal is thick, the painting. Watch if you have an ammo cage that it has no rusty places that will start to oxidate. So that's another thing that you can use. It's a little bit more expensive to buy ammo cages, but it's a viable option, and it's small enough to put in a directly in a backpack when you're on the run. You dig it up, get out, put it in your backpack, and just go. Next. This is another one of those military cages that you've probably seen. These are airtight. You can put all sorts of stuff in it. It will. Oh, it will not degrade that fast because it's mostly made out of plastic, a hard, sturdy plastic with a coating over it, so it will be. It will also protect everything from the inside because the inside is filled with like those protecting layers. But the problem is, if you get something wet in here, it will start to mold because it can be easily held by the protective layers on the inside. So be sure everything you put in this, that it's super dry. Or you can put it in vacuum bags just to be sure. It's a little bit larger, you can contain more in it, but you can store some bigger food rations and more heavier duty gear in this. So just a viable options. Must admit these are not cheap, so I would not scatter these around as my cases just like that. Only you can use these more like on a main point when like when you're 50% of your bug out route, you can visit this for some extra food, uh, some extra gear or something if you need it. So not a problem. The next thing, just buckets. What do I mean by this? These are food grade buckets, so these will not degrade that fast. You can store a lot of it. You can put this full with rice bags, other big gear because, like you can see, it's a big bucket, and it will degrade. It will last against cold and heat because that's what it's designed for, to hold food for animals. What you can do with this is you can bury them, but you can also store them, paint them, and put some sticker on it for chemical warnings, so people will not be quickly to open it because they think it's probably chemical waste. So when you seal one of these buckets, take one of those that you can seal tight and put some isolation tape around it, around the lid, so it definitely not any moist air gets inside. Um, this is my take on uh, cases. So if you have any other of these, leave a remark, comment, perhaps subscribe if you're out on it. I hope you learned something from this video, gave you some ideas. So thank you for watching. See you in the next video.